Greetings YouTube, happy Saturday, and welcome to a video that, quite frankly, I'm surprised I'm making. But in the last couple of days, I have heard from two different summoners with the same problem. And that problem is something that I personally, thankfully, have not faced, but I can see how easy it is to be in this conundrum, and that kind of takes us to the first part of this video. So let's just say hypothetically, you're like one of these two summoners, and I don't know where these people live. I don't, pry for personal questions when somebody hits me up in the line app. But it sounds like they're not from the same alliance, they're not the same person. They probably live, who knows, maybe they live in two different countries. But hypothetically, let's say that you've got some 4 stars. Okay, let's say you've got a 4-star, I don't know. You got a 4-star OG Hulk, right? And this guy is, I don't know, rank 3. But you got a 5-star OG Hulk. And unlike my 5-star OG Hulk, he's actually awakened. Because Hulk's been around a long time in the game. Quite a few people have opened far more than one Hulk in a 5-star crystal. And so, in preparation for the difficulty of the uncollected quest for the stones, they decide to rank up their Hulk. Maybe to, say, rank 3. Take him from rank 1 to rank 3. And they weren't the best with Captain America or Hawkeye or especially OG Iron Man. And so they were just basically counting on one of the last weeks of the trials to get them to a place where they could complete uncollected and hopefully not have to use too many items. Then the nerf happens, and suddenly their 4-star Captain America is more than enough, even at, say, rank 4, to take down all of the paths that they were planning on using their Hulk. And on top of that, now they kind of regret taking up their Hulk. Because, well, they just don't seem to really need them as much. If this was a scenario at which the powers of the stones actually stayed for the rest of the duration of the game, and maybe they would have to scale things back a little bit, but maybe not, who knows. They would at least buff these OG champions. I cannot tell you how weird it is to tell people that I landed on an Iron Man or, Hawkeye, I guess, really isn't the best example. Let's kind of just focus on Iron Man and Captain America. And they're like, wow, you play a Marvel game and you landed on Iron Man and Captain America? That must be like one of the best things you can do. And you just look at him and you're like, I'm kind of sad. Nah, it's one of the worst. Like, what? How is that possible? Well, even though they're the first skin, the OG skin of the game, they're kind of the worst part of the game. They're the worst Iron Man. They're inferior Iron Man. They're hasn't busted enough cap. And I guess hadn't gone through enough wars. Is not in Infinity War. Is not in World War II. Just the OG. Just frozen ice cap. Waiting to wake up in New York City. And it's just kind of harder to explain because these champions should be so good, and yet they're just not. And I think if I was working at Kabam, Lord help me, I would have a vested interest in making sure that people got excited to open the OG Avengers, especially the ones that have like the Avenger tag by their name, because I would want them to be excited to play with the champions and the characters that chances are led them to download the game in the first place. And yet, at this moment, that's not how it is at all. And on top of that, when these two summoners filed their help tickets saying, you guys made this content a lot easier, I can clear it with 4 stars, and I was already taking up my 5 stars to rank them, is there any chance I can get the ability to go back? They just kind of laugh and sort of give the proverbial middle finger and just tick off their player base even more, because we know that these stones, as you can see with the 25-day duration next to them, are limited in scope and in the ability to temporarily buff that champion. And so you're just creating more frustration from your player base and certainly less of an opportunity to gain excitement for those OG champions. These guys and gal need to be buffed. I still think had Black Widow not been nerfed at patch 12.0, she would not have broken the game. Thor, okay, you got a point there. Scarlet Witch, I get it. Doctor Strange, maybe with the regen, but with the 4-star now with the low health, no, I don't buy that at all. And then you have some really weird patch 12.0 that no one really talks about, like Ultron got a little bit of nerf. Magneto, who I didn't know anyone that even played with Magneto beforehand. Just a very, very strange case study. But regardless, we have summoners who now ranked up champions and are ticked because they don't need them anymore for the special event, and they're just kind of quote-unquote stuck with them. There might be some people who are like, haha, that's hilarious. They shouldn't have done that. But I get from a perspective of anticipating a 40,000 plus PI'd boss that they would have to do this. And it just means that these champions deserve better than their current designs in the game. And it looks like we're going to be adding another version of Thor soon to the game. And we're just going to continue to get reskin after reskin, which, at least in my mind, is not only lazy but annoying. When these OG champs who've been around forever and that so many people have should have more excitement to use them. And I don't see them on the now Colossus 1 list of champs to buff soon. They're just not there. And on top of that, can we remind ourselves that part of the reason why Kabam had this dumpster fire of a monthly event that no one was doing until they nerfed it, part of the whole process was to sell these things, right? To sell the Grandmaster featured equivalents to try to get you to buy them, even though we know that they're not great. Now, Hawkeye, definitely up there, but not compared to Blade or Awakened Aegon. I wouldn't take Hawkeye over Gwenpool, right? There are just so many skill champions that are better. And so I can't imagine they're making that much money, if any, over these kind of business strategies, when really, if you want to get the community excited for the champions that so many already have, even as 5 stars, you talk about ways to buff them and use the current temporary stones as a beta test for improvements on the OG champions. So for those of you who ranked up some of the OG champions like Iron Man 2, yeah, Iron Man is definitely a good example of that. Sorry about you. Sorry you're kind of stuck with them, but who knows? Maybe they will come to their senses and they will use this as a beta test like example of how to buff them. But until then, I get why you're just going to be frustrated and you're waiting for answers that aren't going to come because their customer department, their service department is just not reliable. And yeah, that's kind of the current state for some summoners. What are your thoughts on this? Comment below, let me know. And as always, have a great weekend. Thanks for watching.